Hello everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. My name's Kirsten and I'm here to adventure in some craft and art. And if you're anything like me, you'll have scrapbook, 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that you just have never used, or you used it when you were scrapbooking and now you don't scrapbook any longer, so it stays tucked away on a shelf or whatever. So I thought today I would use some of my scrapbook paper up, and this might be the start of a wee series of just what you could do with a sheet of scrapbook paper. So I've got it on my scoring board, and we'll just start by scoring at 3 and 8.5, and then we're going to turn it round 90 degrees and score at 3 and 8.5. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? So you're scoring at 3 and 8.5 along both axes. Let's just fold these back. So you've ended up getting something that just covers over that way and just covers over that way. I'm just going to, what I should have done, and I haven't done, I didn't put down a bit, so let's put that over so that you're not going to get glare if I move the scoreboard, and I won't move the scoreboard. You really want lovely crisp folds for this. So we've got folding that way and that way, and what's going to eventually happen is it's all going to fold up, but it's not all going to fold up as is. We need to do something, need to do some cutting to actually get it to fold all in together. So what you want to do is you want to cut not straight down the middle, but the tiniest of V's. Can you see that? So you're just cutting a tiny V, because if you don't cut a tiny V like that, your paper won't fold. You need to just give the paper, well, it's cardstock really, room to fold. So you're just cutting the tiniest of V's like that. Oop. And then the same in this one. Oop, that was actually too close to the line. Let's try that again. That's better. You can always cut another bit if when you fold it up you still think it's a bit tight. I'm using my nails, by the way. I don't recommend you pull that. I've got nails that are as tough as old boots, and actually I can cut paper with them as long as it's only a wee bit like that. But you see, that one there is still a little tight at the bottom, so I'm just going to cut another wee slither off this one. Yep, that one's folding nicely now, and that one's still a wee bit tight at the bottom as well. Let's just, I think that's because when I cut that one with my nails I cut it too far up. Right, and I'll show you what I do. See, I just do that, and it's not a case of tearing it, it is cutting it. There we go. Right, so I've done, and you can see, and then at the other end, at this top end, is these two side bonds you want to do. So let's just do that, and again exactly the same thing. I'm going to use the scissors to cut that one off. Right, so what this, oh, where are we? So these ones go up, these two go in, these two go in, this comes down, or these two go up, this comes down, these go over, and that comes up, in which case you need to trim a wee bit more off, or these two come in first, this one comes down, and then that one goes up. So you've got lots of variety. That one going up actually isn't going to work because of the pockets. But you'd have to take these pockets off and stick them back on. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make 3 pockets along the bottom there. I'm going to make this one's going to flip out and have a pocket in here. This one's going to be a pocket there. I think that might change because you can decide where you want your pockets as you're going along. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to ink up all the edges at this stage because then they're inked. Okay, so I've inked everything up. That took a while. There isn't really a necessity to ink these lines that you know you're definitely going to be making pockets out of. But if you're still not sure, then ink up everything. So having inked up everything, I then all folds up like that, that comes down, and you end up with just an envelope, a square which is 5.5 by 5.5. There we go. I'm going to clear down, put down a thing to stop the glare off the glass mat, and I'll be back. So let's get on with this. Now I'm stick down. I'm going to decide how I'm going to do this. What am I actually going to do? Right, this centre one's definitely going to be a pocket, so I'm going to stick that down. And then actually these two side ones are going to be pockets as well. Although I'm going to make the pocket come in that way. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this lace, because it is very fine lace and you can't put anything thick. If you put anything thick, you're not going to be able to fold, but with this lace I should still be able to fold it shut. So I'm going to put this lace across all 3 of those. I'm going to sit down to do that. The edge. Yep. I'll trim that last bit off. That'll be good for a cluster or a hidden paper clip. I discovered recently that I do far more hidden paper clips than probably anybody should. Right, so I'm not going to shut that over just because it's not stuck, but that does still shut over. And so that means we've got a pocket here and 2 side pockets here. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to think about how I'm going to do, because these 2 will go over, but what am I going to do here? And I've got several options. I can fold these 2 over and fold it down. I could fold it down and fold these 2 over the back if I make their V's slightly larger. I could fold one over that way and one over that way and bring it down, which is the way I'm heading at the moment, to tell you the truth, because otherwise I think you've not got a lot well, yeah, I still have a lot of pockets, but it gives you another pocket then. Whereas if that's a fold over, then this one, unless I add a pocket on here, but then you're putting bulk in here, this will be bulk outside. Well, not bulk, but this will be outside, which will also make it easier. I can't quite make up my mind which way to do it. I could of course do that one. That one could be the one that comes in, and then that one could be the one that goes out, which maybe would be better because this is the bigger pocket, but then I could do that pocket that way. Or number 634 idea. Right, this one's definitely going to be a pocket going here. Now, is it going to be entered from that way, or entered from that way, or entered from that way? I think entered from that way. Let's put a notch on here. And then I'm going to have to make him a decision now about this other one. Let's have a look. If I do that, is that going to look? Yes, I think I'm going to do this. What I'm going to do is, I'll just get my wee scoring board out. Rather than getting the big one out, I'm going to, I want to do halfway down. So what's this is, it's always so hard to read this board. 3.5, isn't it? So 3.5 would be 1 3/4 would be half of that, wouldn't it? So 1 3/4. Oops. Right, I'm going to, and then you see what you get is you don't get an interruption in the pattern, although the pattern comes in at a different spot. Maybe I'll just put that over that way, like that. I've done it now. I've scored it now. I'm committed now. Okay, I had to change the phone I was recording with then because that phone was bleeping for some reason. Oh, it's because it's flat. It's flat. Right. So, what I need to do here is let's get the paper, just make it nice and crisp. And I'm thinking we might have a thin pocket here and then a tuck here. So actually, let's cut this like that. I know it gives it a, you've then got that other paper. I could stick that paper on there, of course. Oh, let's do that. Let's stick that paper on there. So making it almost like a hidden pocket because you don't see it maybe, although something will end up sticking up out of it. Let's make sure we have that right up in. Just ink that up, and so that will be pocket from up there, so let's put this along down this side and along here. And then this will be a pocket this way, or another pocket this way. Oh, see, maybe I should have cut both of those off, and then that would have seen through to that other one anyway. Oh, let's just do that. Oh, that's going to be awkward now, isn't it? Let's see if we can do this. So what I'm doing now is I'm cutting that bit that I've just stuck on, I'm cutting it off, so that there is the pocket in there, and then there'll be another pocket behind. But I'm now thinking I might have to try and put, late in the day, a wee notch just on that one. Not going to be able to get it in that way. Let's have a look. Where are we? Oh, look, I can see it that way. There we go. So there's a wee notch for that pocket, and then that's going to be another pocket. This is what I do. I constantly changing my mind about what I'm doing, and then it gets glued down, and even then it doesn't necessarily stay because I've just changed something and glued down 2 seconds ago. Let's just get some ink on that and some ink on that while I can still get in it easy enough. And then I need to sew it out. I'm not sewing it. I'm going to stick down this. At the moment I can't get my sewing machine out at all. There's just far too much mess. I need to have a almighty clean up and tidy up. I was moving stuff around, and then I was suddenly asked to do the Spring Fairy collab, which was an absolute joy. I'm not complaining at all, but it meant that the mess that was around just got more. You know that way that you've got to untidy the place before you can tidy it up? Well, that happened. And of course at the same time this is now cut, so I'll just give this a wee. And at the same time, if we trim more off that, that's better. And at the same time, I was too busy doing other things to tidy up, and the things I was doing wasn't even getting put away, and it was just. And now what am I doing? I'm doing this rather than. Never mind. Right. So we've got a pocket here. We've got a pocket here. We've got a pocket here. We've got a pocket here, and we've got 2 pockets here. So maybe next thing to think about is closure. Now there's 2 ways I could have done. I could have put a magnet inside that before I'd stuck it, but there's nothing on that. Still could put a magnet in to close it, but I'm not going to. Or we could do lots of ways to do closures. I'm just trying to think which one I want to go for. Do I want to have something that wraps round it? Or do I want to have something that can just close it there? Oh, see, that's interesting. Does that? Well, that one meets as well. I think I prefer it that way around. There doesn't seem to be much ink along this bit either. Let's just put some more ink along that bit. I'm prevaricating. Well, that was a nice short time for you, but it was nearly 3 weeks for me because I got busy and then went on holiday. But I'm back to finish this fold out pocket folio thing. I'm never sure what names people give things, so the thing's fine. You can see what it is in front of you. Now we'd got to this stage and then I was going to decorate it, and that's what I'm now going to do with you. I'm going to decorate it. I've cut out these shoes and boots from the Digital Collage Club. They're items from there because this is going to be a gift for, it's going to be part of a rack for somebody who likes shoes. There is, I was going to put these on just as, and I decided that that one in particular, you see, the other ones aren't too bad, but that one needed something behind it. So they're all getting something behind it. And I dug out, I've got this vintage book that has red text, which is really quite unusual, but actually it works really well behind this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I've cut out 3 this size with my 1 1/4 punch, and I've cut out, no, I've cut out 4 because that's got a 1 1/2 behind it as well, hasn't it? Am I one missing? Hold on, that's got a 1 1/2 behind it. That's 1, 2, 3, and that's 1, and that's 2, and I need another one. I don't think I can get another one off this sheet. I'll need to get another sheet. I'm going to be really sad when this it's a little, just a little leaflet book thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I get the impression it was something that was printed. I can't get this in. Printed, no, self-print kind of thing. Because I've never seen anything like this before, and it was bound, hand bound in a, you can see there, not the world's best, not a kind of professional type binding, but it's lovely. I just love this. As I say, I love this writing. I kind of keep it for special things because when it's gone, it's going to definitely be gone, but I really kind of wanted to use it, and I can use those little bits as on clusters. Right, so I'm going to put one there and one there, kind of idea. And which boot is it? It's that boot that goes there. Actually probably put those the other way around so that it's underneath the, so the boots are getting 2 under them. The shoes, the single shoes are getting 1 1-inch punch. The boots are getting 1 1-inch and 1 1 1/4. And the pair of shoes, because what I've done here is I've cut out, this is full size, this is half size, to make it look like a pair of shoes, and that's going to get a 1 1/4 punch behind it as well. Now what I need to do is I need to ink those all up. Oh, the other thing to say to you is I decided once I'd picked the shoes and worked out where they were going, I decided that I wanted this to flip in rather than going like that. I wanted it to go like that. Now there's 2 reasons for that. Firstly, it was an aesthetic one because, I'll just show you quickly, I didn't like half a boot showing on the front. And secondly, because I decided that I didn't want these I'm going to have leave things kind of sticking out of here, and I didn't want that showing on the front either because I didn't. Simple as that. But what I had to do then was trim the pockets. Now I've trimmed that one down, and as you can see that now folds flat, but this one doesn't. So this needs, I have done a wee bit trimming, but needs another wee bit trimmed off it down the bottom end. It's down here, it's just catching. So this is now a pocket, but the one behind I've decided I'm going to leave as a flap, just because if I leave it as a flap, I think it's going to be easier to get things in and out it because it's turning out quite narrow. I'll just give that a wee cut. That might need a glue because it seems to be going through tough stuff. There we go. So now that will fold flat as well. So let's first of all, oh, see, it's still not really folding this flat. Oh no, they do jump a wee bit anyway. No, I'm happy with that. First of all, see if that needs to be glued. No, it doesn't. That's okay. The inside pocket stayed glued, but it does need to be re-inked. So I'm using Potter's clay because I didn't want to use something as dark as Espresso Truffle, which is the one that I've still got. The Espresso Truffles lasted for ages. These are the teardrops, dewdrops they're called, that I'm trying to use up because it's not really stuff, so I'm using them for, well, I'm using them, it's not stuff I was using, but now I'm using them because I'm using them for inking and things. So let's just get all this inked, and actually this Potter's clay is going to go nicely with the red writing. It's not it's not red, it's a terracotta colour, but it's going to go nicely with that. That's nice. So I'm going to ink all these up. So that's all my circles done. If you were wondering why I only did one side, it was because I only need to do one side because it'll be stuck down. For the shoes, I'm going to use a brush because there's some very delicate little bits that I'll never get into with that. Yay, the postie came. That's not what I'm yaying for. I'm yaying for, I remember to switch it back on again, because I'm terrible for when, as those of you who've watched me, I'm terrible for when something takes me away, forgetting to put the video back on again. So I'm going to get on with these. Now this one, because it's behind the other one, I didn't scalpel out that bit right in the centre, but I did do it with the bigger one because it was going to be at the front. But that white bit's going to end up behind that shoe, so there was no point. Now I'm just putting these into two piles. I'll just say this while I've got the camera on at the moment, I won't fast forward through this bit. I'm putting these into two piles because some of them, like this boot and the blue shoes and the green boot, are fabricy, and some of them, like the black shoes, the pink shoes or the red shoes or whatever colour shoes you want to call it, the single one of them, I think is actually supposed to be like a satin shoe, but it's shiny, and half the black boot is kind of leathery while the other half is kind of stretchy material. It actually reminds me of a boot that I once had. Not that any boots I've ever had have had roses in them. Right. The other ones, the fabricy boots, are done, but these ones that have a shiny element to them, I'm going to emboss. So let's just, using my embossing. Now I think what I need to do is I stick these together, because once I've embossed them, they're going to be harder to stick together. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these. I should have done it before I did that one, but I can do the other one and then go back to this one. just knock off any of the bits that have ended up on things, any of the bits of powder that have ended up where you didn't want them. 9 times out of 10 they won't actually end up adhering anyway, but it's always a case of you don't know which is the 10th time. And I can bring this across. So what I do is, apart from the fact I always heat my gun up first, so my gun's hot. I mean, it's hot because it's already been used a couple of times. I heat the backs to start with, and you can actually see that actually the glue's already, I've never noticed that before, but the glue's already had an impact. Probably the glue's had a reaction with the ink, and that ink's come through because it's black. It's maybe kind of, and then you can see it's already started to melt on the other side, apart from that thick bit that was where the double through. So it then stops it curling because it's already had heat on the other side of it. But there's something quite magical, I think, about embossing, heat embossing. I love it. Love it, I do. And can you see the difference that's made to those shoes? I don't know if it's so obvious. Let me just get... Oh, there's the other. You see, it just lifts them a little bit, makes them look more 3D, more, I don't know. It just gives them something, I think, anyway. We've got our shoes, we've got our folio. Let's start. We've got our circles. Let's start doing some sticking. We wanted a bigger one down here in the center with this on top of it. Now, whereabouts do we want it? I think we want it about there, don't we? With canal poking out. So actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit in the middle and get it stuck to the shoes first. There we go. And then I'll just stick a bit more in there. I've stuck on all the shoes and boots. I've also stuck a bit of lace on this flap and on this flap, I just think it helps finish it off. Here's this boot here, and in this pocket I've got a sticker of the black boot, and in the wee flap here I've got stickers of the shoes. Flip that up, and in the pocket on the top here, I need to just make sure that shoe's back inside there so that it doesn't catch when I fold it back over. There we go. We've got a shoe here, and these are all the fussy cuts I didn't use. You've got a pair of shoes here and a pair of shoes here. This side has the boot stickers in. This side has 3, you could call them journaling cards if you wanted, that have different shoe sayings on them. This is a bit of tea dye paper that I've put some poppies on one side to stamp them out on one side, and I've put shoe sayings on the other side, and then just slip back in there. A nice wee straightforward, although of course I made it more complicated than it needed to be, and if I show you that, you can see why I decided I didn't want it like that any longer. I wanted this bit to be tucked away inside, because then you end up with a nice finished product. I did contemplate putting a magnet on here, but I decided it wasn't going to work because it's not going to be strong enough, because there's an awful lot of layers it's got to get through. I also considered doing a tie closure round this way, but I didn't want it to catch on these delicate cutout bits and destroy that. So I thought about doing a tie closure around this way, and then I thought, well, it depends what the person who gets this decides they want to do. If they want to stick it in a journal, then actually having a tie going round would work quite well. But if they wanted to, for example, I did think when I was doing this, you could sew it in there and it becomes a page. So this bit actually would be, and you might have another, there's a bit of paper, another page in between that and there, so you don't want a one that's coming over the way. So I think I'm going to leave it, and the recipient can decide if they want to put a closure on it. I mean, you could just put a paper clip or a bulldog clip or something on the top, I suppose. But that's for them to decide. For now, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for just being here and being you, and just your presence is a great joy to me. Take care, keep crafting, and see you soon. Bye for now.